Alright, in this video I'm going to take you through what we refer to as synthetic division. It's kind of a shortcut way to divide polynomials by linear factors. So anyway, here's our first example. So you have this polynomial here, and we're dividing it by x plus 3. So the first thing that you're going to do, take whatever you're dividing by, set it equal to 0, and solve that for x. Okay, so what you're going to do there, you're actually going to write out here in a box a negative 3. Okay, because that's what I got over here. Alright, then what you're going to do, you're going to take the polynomial that you're dividing and you're going to write it out in order in standard form. So that's 4x to the third, negative 2x squared, plus 1x, plus 10. Alright, and then this thing works pretty easily. Drop your first number. Okay, now multiply that number by the number right here. You should get negative 12. And what you're going to do is you're going to put that number here on the next line. Alright, now what you're going to do is add the number straight down. Alright, and then you're going to begin that same process again. You're going to take this number here and multiply it, which gives us positive 42, and we're going to write it right here. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add these two together and write it down. And one more time, we're going to take this number, multiply it. Okay, and then the last thing, we're going to add these together. Alright, so what this means is, okay, you took x to the third and divided by x plus 3. So here, what you actually have is 4x to the second power. It's going to go down a whole exponent. So this is 4x squared. The next term is, of course, x. Then this is a constant, and the last part is considered a remainder. So you can actually call it remainder negative 119, or you can write it over, since we were dividing by x plus 3, that's what goes on the bottom. Okay, so that's your final answer. Okay, what this also tells us is that x plus 3 is not a factor. Okay, of that original problem, 4x to the third minus 2x squared plus x plus 10. Okay, it's not a factor. It's not going to be divisible into it. Alright, so to show you one more example. Alright, you're going to do the same thing. We're taking this polynomial here, dividing by x plus 1. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to write x plus 1 out to the side. Okay, if I solve that, I get a negative 1. Okay, so over here I'm putting a negative 1. Now in standard form, I'm going to write this thing. So that means 7x to the fifth comes next. Okay, now what comes after that would be the x to the fourth term. And if you notice, this problem doesn't have one. Okay, so here's how I would actually have to write it out. Since there's no x to the fourth, I'm actually going to put a 0. And then there is 3x to the third and 2x squared, but then after that there's no x to the first, so again I'd have to put a 0. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, and remember I was putting a negative 1 out here, so I'm going to put my negative 1 back out here, and I'm just going to start to work my problem out. Okay, so again I drop it, and then I multiply. Alright, and then I add these two together, so that gives me negative 7. Then I multiply. Alright, that gives me 10. 10 times negative 1 is negative 10. And if I add those together, I get negative 8. Multiply it by negative 1, I get positive 8. Add them together, I get 8. Multiply again, I get negative 8. And then if I add those together, I get 0. So again, remember that this part here is your remainder. And if you get a remainder of 0, that means that it was able to divide into it evenly. So what that tells us is that x plus 1 is a factor of this polynomial. But in terms of what 7x to the fifth and 3x to the third, 2x squared, and 8 divided by x plus 1 actually equals, it actually equals 7x to the fourth. Remember that you're going to go down a whole power. So instead of it being a fifth power, it's going to go to 4. The next number is x to the third, and then x squared, and then just x, and then just your constant. And then remember that last number is, of course, your remainder. But this is the final answer. Alright, and I'm just going to say it one more time. Because we got 0 at the end over here, that tells us, okay, because of this 0, it tells us that x plus 1 is a factor. Okay, so I hope this helps. I hope it reminds you how to do your synthetic division, and good luck.